Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Matt Senheiner.
Better read than dead.
Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
And today we have a very special guest host, Dusty the Punk.
What's up?
Dusty, tell us about you. Where can we find you? Where can everybody see your other content? You do a lot of stuff, so tell us
Dusty,
about
what
it.
are you about?
Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do Twitch streams. I play obscure games that people probably either don't know about or forgot about. And Instagram, I post a lot of pictures of either my animals or some fun stuff I'm doing, and that's inconsistent. So take that. So either be there or don't. And I try to post daily on TikTok, and that's just whatever I feel like posting that day.
Your
Nice.
TikTok videos are pretty random, pretty weird, but very funny.
Thank
For our audiences, since this is a podcast, what animals are you posting? For those that can't see him, which is everyone, he is wearing a very cool cat T-shirt.
My cats are old, so they're not quite as entertaining anymore. But most of my videos have been my dogs and my ferrets.
Yeah, the ferrets. That's the one I saw. I was like, who has ferrets? This is awesome.
Ferrets are cool.
Yes, I have ferrets.
My only interaction with a ferret, it was a buddy of mine had one, and it snuck out from behind the couch and bit me in the ear, and then I never saw it again the rest of the day.
Dusty would like to replicate that video for sure.
Yeah, put that on.
Scared the
If it
living
would.
shit out of me too, because I'd never seen this ferret. I thought he was full of shit. Like, he's like, I have a ferret, and I'm like, you don't have a ferret. I've never seen this animal. Just thought he had this empty cage that this is my ferret cage. I'm like, whatever. Seriously, a half an hour later, I just had this chomp on the top of my earlobe. I was like, what the hell was that?
My ferret would rather lick my ear than bite it.
That's good. That's
Super
good, 'cause it
perfection.
didn't feel good.
Yeah.
I love
Oh
it.
no, they are carnivores. They're predators. Roads with sharp teeth.
Oh yeah, yeah. They don't mess around. They're cute as
Yeah.
shit, but they don't mess around.
Yeah,
What's
but they're also
the-
called carpet sharks for a reason.
Dusty, what's the obscure game that you're playing of late?
I've been playing a game called Paradise Killer, where you are solving a murder.
Huh.
Never heard of it.
And with a few friends, occasionally I started playing Aliens Fireteam.
Oh, I have played that. What Paradise Killer? What platform's that on?
It is on, I believe it's on all platforms, but
Oh,
I
okay.
got it off the Xbox Game Pass.
Nice.
Is it like I played Risk of Rain before, where you're kind of a detective solving a murder? Is it a style like that where you make decisions and the game adjusts as you go, or is it all in?
Kind of, you're more just solving this mystery around this unique world, and it has probably the most ASMR soundtrack ever because it's like super chill and relaxing.
Nice.
Okay.
So
Sweet. I'm
Look
gonna
it
have to
up.
look into that one.
Well, good deal. Talk about multi-layers of content. You want ferrets, you want obscure video games, you just need a laugh from some random videos of him doing a mashup of large mouths against some cool music. Like, Dusty's got
So
it all.
good.
So good
Mhm.
stuff.
yeah, my last one was actually the opening of the Beartooth concert when the band came up after all the openers finished.
Nice.
So
Very cool.
It's awesome. Well, we appreciate you joining us, Dusty. We're looking forward to hearing what you think about the movies, and yeah. So let's jump into the spoiler free. So as always, just to lead in, we appreciate your help growing the podcast. Go ahead, hit the like, subscribe, bell notification buttons if you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're listening, we appreciate that. Go check out the website, whatsourverdict.com. You can sign up for our newsletter, get exclusive content and updates, all that fun stuff. And then, of course, the question we always ask is if you ever find yourself wondering if you should spend the time, money, or both on a movie. To help with that question, each week we put a movie on trial, discuss the facts, pass judgment, and let you know our verdict. Today we're reviewing Morbius. It was released April 1st, 2022. It was written by Matt Sazama and Burt Sharpless. It was directed by Daniel Espinosa. Stars Jared Leto, Audrey Arjona, Matt Smith, Tyrese Gibson, Al Madrigal, and Jared Harris. Biochemist Michael Morbius tries to cure himself of a rare blood disease, but he inadvertently infects himself with a form of vampirism instead. This is our spoiler-free review, so we will rate this movie on a 3-tiered scale. Worth it, meaning you should watch this movie as soon as possible. Stream it, meaning wait until you can watch it for free. And finally, not impressed, meaning you shouldn't watch this movie at all. You can listen to our deep dive review on Morbius on Monday, April 11th. So let's dive in. I'll kick off the spoiler free. Probably not going to be what everybody thought it was going to be. Some of it maybe, but not all of it. I went into this movie thinking this was going to be a dumpster fire, and it was more of like a garbage can fire. So like one of those little ones that you light in your office when you're trying to get rid of some evidence. It was like, I think the only thing that saved this movie was the interactions. There was a couple of scenes between like Matt Smith and Jared Leto. If you were to just put them in a movie together, I would watch that shit regardless of whatever the movie is, because they had some brilliant moments together as long as there wasn't CGI involved. The other piece that really, and then when you threw Jared Harris into the middle of that, that's three just outstanding actors doing their thing. And so I really enjoyed the acting and the characters. And as much as Jared Leto, you hear that he's extreme, he's still a great actor. So those three together, I really enjoyed. And Matt Smith and Jared Leto together, I enjoyed. The problem was everything else. The story was the CGI is crap. And it just was Sony trying to make a Marvel movie at its best when you don't include actual Marvel people. So I'm so torn on this one because like I said, what I did like, I really liked, but it was few and far between what I did like. So I'm going to give it a not impressed because I have to be consistent. And just because I liked some of the acting in it, it doesn't make up for the rest of the crap that I had to sit through. And then when you get to the end, good Lord, I don't normally say skip post-credit scenes, but just walk away. Just leave. It was so bad. All right. So not impressed.
I didn't even look up the post-credit scene, JJ. I just left because I didn't care.
Yeah, it's not worth watching. In fact, it makes an already slightly confusing premise just way more confusing, and then it just ruins the good work they've done with Marvel directly. Anyway, yeah. All right, so there's my spoiler free, not impressed. Skip this one. I mean, at best, wait and watch it in pieces. Alec, hit us with your spoiler free.
Spoiler free. Okay. Well, I'm going to kind of be in the same boat as JJ with the garbage can fire rather than the dumpster fire. But then when you go to put out that fire, instead of water, you threw gasoline on it. Now your office is on fire. I was not a fan of Jared Leto, and I'm typically not a huge Jared Leto fan. I think he gets a lot of credit for being a great method actor. And I think he's just too extreme in that sense and really banks on his method acting. CGI was crap. Movie was crummy. The only good thing I can really say about this movie was it was under 2 hours. So I was good to go, right? I could sit through and like, oh, good, it's done. And I haven't gone to really, fallen asleep yet. But I mean, I didn't know a whole lot about the Morbius story, anything like that. And so going in, I was confused from the get-go and then just confused throughout the entire movie. And like JJ said, skip the end credit scene because that just threw a cherry confusion on top of my cherry confused Sunday.
Yeah.
So yeah, not impressed for me. Skip this movie, do yourself a favor and save the money.
Definitely. All right, Dusty, let us know what you thought.
So my whole palette is kind of weird because like the worst thing a movie can do is bore me. And this time around, there are kind of those plus moments, but the negatives for me were so funny. I laughed the entire time I was watching this for unironic reasons. There's so many like things in editing and story. This felt like these writers were told to write a Batman movie, but only hearing the name Batman.
I love
and not understanding who the Morbius character actually is.
Fair enough.
So, like, if you're like me who enjoys watching a bad movie from time to time and just laughing at it, it's definitely worth a watch. If you don't have that kind of palate, then you won't get much out of this. So it's hard for me to give any. So it's hard for me to recommend it unless you're like my kind of audience. So I guess I do have to put it under not impressed. It didn't bore me. It entertained me, but for the reasons it shouldn't have entertained me.
Yeah, for all the wrong reasons. That's fair. That is fair. I think if I watched Matt Smith and his crappy CGI like grimace one more time, I was gonna fall.
Matt
over dead.
Smith's cheesy performance in this was
man.
so entertaining. He goes full ham.
Oh
and
yeah,
I loved it. I
Guy
loved that
leans
part of the
in.
movie.
Leans in hard.
Oh, it was. If he was leaning in harder, his face would have been in the floor.
Oh yeah,
Gosh.
it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
He looked
All
like a worse version of Voldemort.
With a nose.
Well, not much of one, but
Yeah, fair enough.
I think
All right,
they got their
Madsen.
inspiration.
Bring
Yeah,
us
let
home with
me-
your spoiler free.
Man, I'd like to, for our common folk out there, let me just put a shameless plug in for Big Boy AMC again. Thank goodness for my AMC A-list membership here. It allowed me to see this movie technically not for free, but kind of for free since I've seen enough movies that I can just throw this one on the back burner. Because man, if I had paid for this movie outright, woo! We started with a little office fire to a full office fire, and then I would have had to call the fire department because, man, guys, if your whole movie is based around CGI, what are we doing here? How does it look this bad? And I just, for me, the emotional depth that they tried to endear me to the characters, I will say his Matt Smith's suit of Question, where he had the shirt and then the tie that was the same, like, style as his shirt. I'd never seen that before. So interesting, like, choice in fashion there. Maybe that's a new statement. But that's like the one thing I remember from this movie, which is bad. So yeah, definitely not impressed. There are worse movies that you could watch that are funnier, that are horrible. I think Dusty the Punk's. If you have some friends and you want to just trash on a bad movie, don't go see this in theaters. Wait till it streams. Get some beers, pizza, popcorn, whatever it is, and then you can just roast this whole movie the whole time, and especially the CGI, because it's like we were saying. Was Voldemort like the main villain in this? Basically.
Man, you'd think. If only it was just Matt Smith's CGI that was bad, though. Like,
no, it was almost every CGI moment in this
Yeah.
movie.
it's across the board. Well, and like they're flying around and they look like confetti. Like, I'm like, what the shit is going on?
Yeah, I didn't know, like-
you could barely tell what was even going on.
I
Yeah,
didn't know black mist came off of. Yeah, like
it was terrible. Terrible. Man, there we go. Yeah, I'm not impressed across the board. I think this might be a first in our spoiler-free review, getting full across the board, not impressed. I think we've at least always had like a stream it floating around in there somewhere, but
Thanks, Dusty. You're super lucky.
yeah, like
First year.
bring the consistency. I love it. Yeah, so there it is. Just skip this movie, or like Madsen said, or if you're like Dusty the Punk, man, and you like some good comedy because it's so bad, this is the one for you.
Yeah.
Madsen, tell everybody where else they can find us.
yeah, if you're trying to find What's Our Verdict, definitely check us out on whatsourverdict.com for what's upcoming. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook most especially, and then obviously YouTube for spoiler freeze. Want to hear from you. Don't forget about our Podchaser reviews as well if you want to support Ukraine in the 50 cents that they'll donate to Chef for Ukraine. Definitely a worthy cause. Leave us a review, hit that follow, like, or subscribe button wherever you listen to us. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, Dusty the Punk, give us your plugs again, man.
Yep. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at Dusty the Punk. TikTok as well at Dusty the Punk. That one specifically Dusty the Punk 90. I had to boot it last year. And find me on Twitch, also at Dusty the Punk, every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon.
Nice. And we'll make sure
Good
we have
deal.
links down in our down below on YouTube, and then also in our show notes for the podcast when we do the deep dive. So on Monday. So we'll definitely have those links. So go check out Dusty the Punk. Yeah, man. Let's join us for the deep dive. It's gonna be a fun one when we get
Let's
to
go
shit all
trash
over
this
this
movie.
thing and actually spoil it. So as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!